There we go, man. Bearded Bear Podcast. Mike Reese, along with me, as always, my guy, Angelo Pasquinelli. How you feeling, brother?
Good man, good. Actually, real good. How about you? How you doing, Mike?
Man, I'm feeling better. For those who don't know, I'm fresh off of COVID in 2024, which is crazy because I honestly didn't even know it was like still going around like that. And I started getting sick maybe 2 weeks ago. I actually got sick like at work. Like I hopped out of the truck and like puked. So I
Dang.
never really do shit like that. So I knew it was something weird, and then I was sick for damn near 2 weeks. And my girlfriend actually went and got tested, I want to say 2 days ago, and she was positive for COVID. So it was like, damn, that's crazy, but it makes sense, man, because I was like stuck in the bed for 2 days. I didn't leave the bed. I was I was down pretty bad. So definitely glad to be here with you guys, like up healthy and yeah, man. It makes you miss how regular life is.
Yeah, you get bored real fast.
Dude, I watch so many like murder mystery type documentaries on YouTube. Like I was just watching straight sports and like those documentary not documentaries but like interrogation films that be on YouTube.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bro, I probably watched like 100 of those over the course of 2 weeks, just out of straight nothing else on.
Yeah, it gets boring pretty fast.
Hell yeah, man. So obviously, since the last time we talked, a lot of major things have happened, and we'll start with the biggest one off top, man. Justin Fields finally got traded, which pretty much anyone who was somewhat educated with what was going on, kind of saw the writing on the wall with that. I'm sad to see him go. Obviously, I was a big Justin fan, will be a Justin fan now that he is in Pittsburgh. But I wanted to get your opinion on the compensation. So, a 6th round pick that could potentially be a fourth if he plays 51% of the snaps. Obviously, he's in Pittsburgh with Russell Wilson. So, potentially could have a quarterback battle there. But just off the top, man, how did you react when you heard that, and what are your thoughts on it now?
Well, I like that he went to Pittsburgh, but I think what bothers me is what we got back for it, which is could be a fourth, but so after a couple days go by, right? They come out and they say, "Hey, Bears did right by Fields. There was a bunch of other teams offering better compensation, but they asked Fields where he wanted to go." I get that. I like that. That's nice. But in the grand scheme of things, it's a business. Like players come and go, but if you're a Bears fan, it doesn't matter if Aaron Rodgers is in that jersey. You're gonna be a fan of Aaron Rodgers because he plays for the Bears.
Yeah,
So I think you kind of hurt yourself a little bit by giving up Justin Fields for so little. Like,
yeah,
I mean, could a 6th round pick be the next Brady, Adrian Peterson, Randy Moss? Sure. How likely is that though? And how likely is it that they hit on that pick? So it's
yeah,
almost like a wasted pick or some piece that they may trade later on in the future. Now, if Wilson gets hurt, or I seem to think that they're not going to have a problem playing Justin Fields over Russell Wilson if Russell Wilson plays bad. That division
yeah.
is super tough. They could fall behind really fast, and if Russ doesn't have it, they're going to let Justin play. They're basically paying him the same amount of money.
Right, right. Um, so to talk about the compensation first, I guess I know Pose did say that, but he also said that he was surprised by the market for Justin. So that makes me kind of believe that the difference between the two scenarios weren't that great. So for example, maybe who is the Chargers might have called, right? This is just a guess. And they're like, hey, we'll give you a 5th round this year. I think it might have been something like that, which technically that's better, but in the grand scheme of things, like they're both crapshoots at the end of the day.
True.
Um, I do agree with you though. I think for one, respect to Poles for actually holding his word, doing right, sitting him to a place where even if he doesn't play right away, you're sitting behind a guy in Russ who he's been on the downswing the past few years, sure, but I mean he's still a vet in this game. He's a Super Bowl champion. He was a Pro Bowler. He's probably a future Hall of Famer, and that's a great person to sit behind and learn and slow things down. Two, obviously Mike Tomlin, also another Hall of Famer in the future. You got just the Pittsburgh organization as a whole is just a first class football organization. So um, definitely shout out to Post for doing that. I do think it's a good spot for Fields. Let me ask you this: were you surprised by the market for him, or do you think that was kind of spot on?
Um, I'm surprised at the interest. I guess wasn't there, but everyone knew that that they were going to trade Fields. So it's like, what are they going to ask for? And if they're asking too high, we're just going to pass.
Yeah,
Because we know at some point they're going to have to get rid of him.
yeah,
So, or keep him for the middle of the year. But then, like you had talked about, that just creates a lot of controversy in the locker room because
yeah.
people like Fields and they wanted him there. So to have him still on the team, I think would be a bad look on polls and kind of indecisiveness for the team because you'll have some people rocking with the brand new quarterback, other people want to stick with Fields. So,
Yeah.
I mean, DJ Morris said it best, business is business.
It is, yeah, and at the end of the day, um, I mean that's all it is, and that's all it'll be. And I'm sure most Chicago fans, Fields gave us something we felt in a football player that like we haven't had hope like that since probably Hester. Honestly, with a single person having the ball can score on any play, and
Yep.
just the excitement of him. I know my favorite play of Justin was the Miami game when he scrambled and he like kind of faked pass on the way and then just took off up the seam. And obviously at that time, and our Bears fan, and we're like, dude, we're good.
I uh I like that play where he scrambled to the left side of the field and he did that spin move and he stayed in bounce and he scored a touchdown on it. That was pretty sick because he got hit and he like spun around and then he kept going.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that was against was that was it Detroit maybe
I was gonna also say Philly. I thought it was
Philly?
against Philly.
Yeah, when he threw off Hassan Reddick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Uh,
yeah, man.
he was definitely fun to watch, and I wish Fields nothing but the best, man. I hope that this isn't he goes there and that's like the end. I,
Yeah.
I think he's got the talent if he gets another chance with a better supporting cast.
Yeah, definitely. And we heard those same words being spoken at the owners meeting these past couple of days. Even Ryan Poles himself saying, it was just a tough situation that the timelines just didn't match up. Like this is nothing against Poles, and I hope Bears fans don't like hold this against him because it wasn't his pick. He had to fix the mess that was here already. But you also heard that same thing from Mike Tomlin talking about there's a lot of talent that is still there and that they think can get out. And Russ is obviously the starter right now, but they're open to competition. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, going into off season, you kind of do want to have a clear number one, and when training camp comes, whatever happens, happens. But just wanted to put a bow on that, man, because Justin did mean a lot to a lot of Chicago Bears fans and always will. So just wanted to show my love to Justin, wish him the best. Wish we could have got more, but like you said, it is what it is. But that does lead us to our future. And 99.9% sure is going to be Caleb. He had his pro day. When was that? Last week.
Hmm.
Did you watch the pro day or watch like film of it or whatever?
Yeah, I saw some highlights of it. He looked pretty good, man.
Yeah.
But
Um,
of course, you're gonna look good if Max Crosby or T.J. Watt or Miles Garrett isn't running at you.
right. Yeah, yeah. That's what I was about to say. Like, I'm not trying to be that cloud over everyone's parade, but I mean, look at JJ McCarthy's pro day. He threw that Zach Wilson ass bomb. You know what I'm saying? So of course, all of these guys have arm talent. They're high level D1 quarterbacks, and they're throwing in shorts and a t-shirt to their teammates. So they're going to look good. But what I was really impressed by was just how effortless it was. His footwork, the way he just like flipped his shoulders, the way the ball came out his hands, it just looked so effortless. And I can't lie, man. I'm excited. How you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited after seeing that. Like you said, effortless is the key to it. He kind of remind me of Vic when he throws it. It just doesn't look like he's putting a lot of power behind the ball, but that ball literally just launches. I mean, he
Yeah.
threw that he threw that 70-yard bomb, and that was all like in the air on a rope, like on time and guys. It's like
We can't hear you, bro. I don't know. What happened with that? Yeah, you muted it. Oh yeah, you're muted now. All right, yeah, we're back good. Sorry about that, guys. We had some technical difficulties.
it almost seems like it happens every time. But
I
anyways,
know.
so yeah, he threw that 70-yard bomb on a rope, but I think the thing to me is like the key of it all is like timing. His timing looks good.
Yeah,
And I think, and again, there's no defense out there, but with Fields, part of the problem was his timing. And that could have been offensive line. It could have been his footwork was bad. It could have been because he had three offensive coordinators. But from what I see of Caleb Williams, the timing looks good. And if you get the
yeah,
timing down and you're good with that, you're going to make some plays.
yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think and that's where I was gonna go too. Like the biggest thing I took from that pro day is the timing and just honestly his accuracy throwing outside the numbers. Justin Fields, outside of maybe just missing reads or just missing open guys or just simply not seeing them. I don't know. But one of his other biggest flaws was throwing outside the numbers. And just because that is such a precise route most of the time, those out routes. And with Caleb, it was just like catch it and it's out, catch it and it's out. And even if you go over his film, I know a lot of people say that, and even I said this earlier without even going deeper into it, that he holds the ball too long. But sometimes, uh, he's looking for the big play, and they have to coach that out of him. They have to coach that down. But what you do see on his film a lot of times is he will catch it and just get it out. Like he can play within time. And I think with a support system that the Bears have in place now, potentially adding more, and with his talent, the sky's the limit, man. Let me ask you this: what are your expectations for him, like rookie season?
Who do they draft at 9? If they take a receiver at 9, I expect them to throw for 3,500 yards. I don't
Okay.
I don't care about. I mean, I do care about interception touchdown ratio, but he's got to be able to throw for 3,500 yards with the
Mm.
with the crew that he has. Even right now, to be honest with you, because what's 3,000 in 17 games? Isn't that like 270 yards a game?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, probably.
That's really not a lot. And if you expect this guy to be upper echelon, then I expect him to have some. He's going to have some games where he struggles, but he should have some big games also.
Yeah. I'll say that's like the big thing with the conversation right now. A lot of people before it was Fields versus Caleb, which we never really got into that whole thing. We wanted them to do what was best for the Bears, right? But
Right.
a lot of people took it super far, and now their argument is these unrealistic expectations for him rookie year. And that's why I wanted to ask you, like, are you big on he has to achieve this, this, and this, or it's a failure? Or do you have more patience, I guess you can say?
I mean, I'll definitely have more patience. It's the pros, man. It's different than the college game, and things move faster. It takes a little longer to get adjusted. Uh, the kid's got to have at least 3 years. You got to give him a chance. You know, we talked about this before. All these guys usually take huge steps in their third year. Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. Anytime they get a top tier wide receiver, this guy's coming in with two 1,000-yard receivers, which is pretty damn good for a rookie. That's why I
Yeah.
do kind of expect a little bit more from him rookie year, but I'm not asking him to throw for 40 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Like
Oh yeah, yeah.
he's gonna make mistakes, but the yardage should still be there. Like both Keenan Allen and DJ Moore should both have 1,000 yards.
Mm. I agree, and I think that's why it's such a I don't even know the word, man. It's just such a unique situation, right? Because we go through all these quarterbacks of the past, in every situation there was a but. And to this one, it kind of seems like there isn't. You know, Bryce Young was the number one quarterback taken last year. Um, Expectations for him were, I would say, decent, honestly, because a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
people thought Carolina did enough for them to be okay, but in reality, it was horrible. You got CJ Stroud, though, who walked into a situation like Houston, where people said there were a bunch of nobodies, quote unquote, but obviously they were something because he had a hell of a year. And with Caleb, we've never seen a prospect like him with this hype, with this talent. And now he's coming into a pre made, built situation. For me, my expectations are a little high too. I'm expecting him to at least be in the conversation heavily for rookie of the year. And the Bears should be a wild card team, man. Am I
I
wrong for that?
no, I agree with that. I think that so there's things that I'm hearing is like oh, this dude better come out and throw for 350, 3 touchdowns first game of the year, otherwise he's a
Uh,
bust. Come on, man. Really? That's what
yeah,
you want? I mean, not that's what you want, but that's what you expect a bust to be because a
right,
guy has his first NFL game, and it's not good, or even if it's just
right,
mediocre. Who cares, man? If they win, it's the W is the number one thing.
right.
Even if he doesn't throw for 3,500 yards, if they're winning all the time, then he automatically is in a better puts us in a situation to win. I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
My big thing is going to be, and we talked about Fields a lot of times in the fourth quarter, he'd make bad reads and throw an interception. He'd fumble the ball. He just wouldn't, I want to see Caleb Williams make those plays. I want to know that when we're down 21-10 in the third quarter, it's not over. Like
yeah,
I don't want to be like, no, I'm done watching the game because it's over. Like they could fight and still win some of these games.
yeah,
That's a quarterback I want.
yeah. Staying on that track, if you can give me 3 goals for you personally for Caleb this year, what would they be?
Well, one one thing is going to be I'm not a huge fan of his like speech, the way he talks. He's very cocky, and I feel like in Chicago, like we kind of really don't. We like Cutler to an extent, but also he's not. He wasn't a franchise guy to put you in a situation to win a bunch of Super Bowls. Like if this is the guy, like he needs to talk more like Mahomes and Brady and Allen, like more. I feel like he doesn't really respect the media, and
Hmm.
I don't. I guess I don't. I don't want to say that because I don't really like know him like that, but that's what it seems like. So I'd like him to kind of, and
He
you can,
seems arrogant to you.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, I get it. You're going to have some media guys ask you some crazy off the wall questions that are going to piss you off. And that's okay to get pissed off. But some of the times they were talking to him at the combine, just like his answers were like,
Short.
and shitty. It's like the attitude behind his voice. But I don't know him. Maybe that's just how he talks.
Yeah.
So, but that's also, don't forget he's going pro. So that's something that they're going to teach him because they have those media days. He is the quarterback of the Chicago Bears. Like he
Yeah.
is going to have to talk to the media all the time. So they're going to coach him up. And I'd like to see him get a little bit better with that because even Aaron Rodgers is arrogant, but he has a way of talking to the media where he doesn't always sound like he's being an asshole.
Yeah.
Um, that's one thing. I'd like to see him, and a lot of it doesn't really have to do with stats. I want to see him win the team, like the interactions with the team from week 1 compared to week 6. Like, how are those interactions on the sidelines, post game. How do they talk about each other? I want him to win this team over because this team is very much still like Justin got a raw deal.
Yeah.
So I think some of those guys probably aren't happy that he's coming in. And I've heard and read articles that some of the guys at USC really didn't like him.
Really?
Yeah, some of the defensive guys, but they're not catching the ball from him. So,
Yeah.
but it's a total team effort. And when you watch shows like Hard Knocks, some of these offensive and defensive guys, they talk, they get along, they hang out outside of the games and stuff like that. So if he can kind of galvanize the team, I guess I would say,
Just become that alpha, that leader of the team. Yeah.
right. And then the last thing would be to really, I want to see him limit turnovers. He is at USC. He didn't really have a lot of turnovers. He played pretty well. My thing is, what I see from him is he's got like a gunslinger mentality, which I like.
Yeah.
Which I like because he's not. I felt like Fields at points was scared to make throws because he wasn't sure if maybe he could fit it in that tight window, which is understandable because he doesn't want to turn the ball over. But being a gunslinger in the NFL, those windows close real fast. So I want to see him be able to limit turnovers. I don't want him to have, total turnovers be 20. If you can
Yeah.
keep it at like 12-ish, that's with interceptions and fumbles. If he takes care of the ball when he gets sacked, that's the main thing because it's the NFL. You're getting sacked. Just
Yeah.
don't fumble the ball when you get
Right.
sacked.
Yeah.
What
Those are
about you?
good.
What about you, Mike? I know mine are kind of like a little different.
No, I get you. Before I say mine, I do kind of not want to push back, but bring this up for your first one, right? We've in Chicago outside of Cutler, and Cutler to me, he just didn't give a shit. Like he just didn't care that much,
Yeah.
to be honest. And some people loved Cutler for that, and some people like hated him for that. So let's say Caleb comes in, right, and he is that elite franchise guy. Um, do you want him to have that swagger about himself, or do you want him to just be like how Justin was? Not trying to compare them because that's not fair, but as far as like demeanor, the way the media was handled, or do you kind of like a guy who's not edgy, but like he'll push back, he'll defend a little bit, and he's just like confident in himself.
I guess in the grand scheme of things, I'd rather have someone who's confident. Um, I guess the thing is because he's going to be a rookie, so he hasn't really done anything yet.
Mm,
I feel that confidence is too high. Like if
mm,
Mahomes was talking like that, I'm like, well, this guy's a 3-time Super Bowl champ. Like he
yeah,
could say whatever he wants. Even Jalen Hurts, like he's gone to a Super Bowl. He's proved himself, and he has a little bit of swagger to him.
yeah,
And if I was gonna compare, like I would want like that like Jalen Hurts swagger because he's still like he does it in a way where it's not like
flashy.
yeah, but
Yeah,
you're like that's my quarterback.
got you. I got you. I got you. I just want to like kind of get that, um, just like a clear thought on what you meant.
Yeah,
Because some
it's
people
hard
might
to
be like,
explain.
yeah, I get what you're saying though, because like, and I'm not even necessarily. I guess the Colin Coward one, but I can kind of see why he would be short with him though, because of that report earlier and shit. But even the other ones, like I don't know, man, it is weird. Like sometimes he does give good answers, like he'll break it down, but then sometimes it does feel a little forced. Like I'm only saying this shit because I know it's a good look. Like really, I don't really mean that. I don't know, and we could be completely off track with
Just
that, but
right, just maybe looking into it too much.
right, I get what you're saying for sure. Um, For me, honestly, what you said at number two, just winning the team over would be my first one because you can do that from day one. You can come in training camp. You heard what Jalen Johnson said. Like, we're not taking it easy. We're not doing none of that Hollywood shit. And I believe them, especially that veteran defense, especially those leaders on that team, because a lot of those guys were close with Justin from what we've seen on the outside. And, I mean, it's human nature for them to feel like, yo, Justin was my dog. I understand it's a business. You, this young guy who hasn't even taken a snap, and they're already saying you're the savior. Fuck, we about to put it on your ass in training camp. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to see that break him. I don't want to see that tear that confidence down. I want him to step in there and take it by the horns. Like I'm the leader, I'm the guy, and I'm leading us to, like you said, victories at the end of the day. Pretty ugly, however, but we're winning. Um, Number two, I want to see him break all the Bears passing records in his first year. I'm not gonna lie, because that shit is pitiful. Like honestly, man, it really is. That's to me, that's not even a high bar. Uh, and I think with the talent that they have on offense, that's without the draft even. It's possible. He's very capable of doing that. And my last one, I really like what you were saying about the turnovers because he did kind of have a fumble problem in college. But what I want to see is, I don't want to put a number on it, but I'll say 3 fourth quarter comeback victories if possible this year, or at least 1, 2, something. Um, as we know with Justin, like that was the biggest one, man. That was probably the second biggest reason he's not here still. And like you said, scoring is at a premium in football. It should not be 21-10 at the beginning of the third, and we're like, game's over because we're not going to score again rest of the
Right,
game.
right.
So I want to see that. But honestly, take that off. Beat Green Bay. 100% honest with you.
Dude, if they beat
Outduel Jordan Love.
if they beat Green Bay twice and they lose the rest of the games, I'll probably still be happy because I literally cannot stand Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm tired of it, man. And after last year, got swept, especially with as good as Jordan Love was looking. It's like, bro, please put a stop to this shit. Like, we can't go through this again.
Yeah, they should have beat him in the first game because that second game he was on fire
Yeah.
already. They didn't have a chance in that one.
Yeah, no, for real, man. So the defense is better. Like I said, to me personally, this is the best situation of all time that a first pick quarterback has stepped into. Even better than those Andrew Luck Colts, because that was a legit first pick team when they picked him. Like this isn't. So plus we added some. So definitely excited. The talent speaks for itself.
Yep.
And yeah, man, we can't wait. 20 something days now. I think it is 29 days
Yeah, dude, I cannot
until
wait.
draft day. Why the hell is that so big? Uh
That's what she said.
but so so for this last segment, obviously the owners meetings are going on right now. Off seasons, this is kind of like a little dry area until draft time. The rule changes, right? Couple interesting ones. We got the hip drop tackle, which we saw really derail a few seasons last year, and the new kickoff rule. So I'll throw it to you first, man. Which one? Well, just speak on both of them. Like, what do you like them? Do you not like them?
Well, I'll start with the kickoff rule. I actually think that the kickoff, being able to return a kickoff, I think that is the most exciting play in football. It can literally change a game. So I think what they're doing in a way to bring it back, I mean, we have to think about it as Bears fans. Like Mike said earlier, Hester was so exciting. Could you imagine? You're literally taking Hester out of the game completely by not changing the rule to this. So
Yeah,
now you have a chance to get guys like, you know, Hester, Deion Sanders, Percy Harvin. There could be another guy who comes in who just dominates returns. And
yeah,
I think it puts offenses in a better situation. But I like the way it's set up. You know, they have a zone where the defense lines up, the offense lines up. Only the kicker and the guys in the back can move that are catching the ball. Because I think there's 2 guys, right, that can line up all the way in the back.
yeah,
So, and then they can't move until the guy catches the ball. I think that's perfect. It
yeah,
stops those head-on collisions with the guys blocking. You know, they don't have a full head of steam. I like that.
yeah,
I don't, however, love them taking away the hip drop tackle just because the more things they take away from the defense, the harder it is to stop an offense.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watch that play where Mark Andrews, breaks his leg or whatever, it's pretty devastating, right? It looks super painful, but he literally had no other way to stop him. If he tries to arm tackle him, Mark Andrews scores a touchdown probably.
Yeah.
And not only that, the refs suck already. So
Yeah.
so now you're asking them to decide whether or not that's a hip drop tackle. So you're adding something else on their plate, and they can barely call the game as it is.
Yeah.
So, I understand the point to keep guys like Mark Andrews healthy for the Ravens season. Geno Smith not twisting his ankle and missing 2 or 3 games probably cost him from, just
A
more.
playoff berth, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So that's just my thought. Mike, what do you think about these rule changes?
Honestly, I agree with both. I'm right there with you. Returns in general are the most just entertaining plays there are in football. And if you get rid of the kick return, like you said, you're Devin Hester's, who we grew up idolizing, Hall of Fame return man, literally changed games, changed the way teams game planned. Teams were kicking the ball out of bounds to keep it out of his hands. And I mean, it's a strategy. And you have guys that are like Valus Jones, for example, who's not the greatest receiver, but he is dangerous with the ball in his hands. It gives him more of a purpose and more of a reason now to have him on that roster and another opportunity to have that ball in his hands now. I like the way they set it up. I think it actually might stick just because if it actually does lower the injuries caused on kickoff return and you see a few more kick return touchdowns this year, um, I think you keep it, man. Because like you just said, from an excitement standpoint, it completely changes the game.
Yep.
Um, the hip drop tackle, same. I'm right there with you. It's gonna be rough, man, because they can barely call the games as they are now. You're asking I can't think of a small corner. Remember Kendall Vildor?
Yeah.
For example, like TJ, not TJ, Kokomet is coming across the middle. Like he's not going to tackle him with an arm tackle. You can't go up high. And honestly, shooting at the knees is just as dirty as a hip drop tackle to me.
Absolutely.
Uh, we remember the guy, I can't remember the game last year, but the guy from Detroit smoked was it the Rams? He smoked his knees and he like
Oh,
broke
yeah, yeah, yeah.
was it Tyler Higbee? I can't remember.
Yeah, yeah, it was Higbee.
It was?
Yep.
Yeah. So you're gonna have more plays like that now. And yeah, I mean, I get it, man. I'm all for keeping the players safe. I'm all for making the game safer. But at some point, you're like kind of tying the defensive guys' hands behind their back, you know?
Yeah, and it's going to get to a point where guys aren't going to be able to make tackles,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
if you do something like this, then you gotta call more offensive pass interference because that happens a lot and they let it go,
Yeah.
you know,
Or
or
holding.
or holding, right, so like you have to also put some blame on the offense. I get it. Everybody wants to see points scored.
Yeah,
A
of course.
lot of it's about betting and making money through that, avenue as well. But also eventually you're just not going to have defense at all.
Yeah. Yeah. At some point, it's like, all right, well, just throw flags on them, I guess.
Right.
Because it is a lot of, even with the rule where the defensive player can't land their body weight on the quarterback. That's a great rule. But how many times did we see it last year where it was just called and that wasn't the case at all? I remember a couple Bears games actually there it was like that as well. So I think it'll take a while for the defensive guys to adjust to it. I think eventually they will, but it might be rough this first year, and it might cost a couple people games. Honestly, if with refs calling it at the wrong time because it's such a bang bang play.
Well, I personally myself, I think that they should have some kind of, the my issue is this: you call the play on the field, right? There's a ref out there, hip drop tackle. There should be somebody, New York, let's say, LA, wherever, watching the game, reviewing the footage, and calling down so the ref doesn't have to go review it and go, hey, that's not a hip drop tackle. Pick up that flag. Done. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
Why are we prolonging these games? Because now you got to have four refs talk about it. Two of them say no. Two of them say yeah. Now he's got to go watch the footage in slow mo for 5 minutes. It's
Right.
like, dude, let's go, man. They should already have guys in place in a room watching that stuff.
Yeah. Well, the thing about that is, well, for one, I know another rule did get changed actually, where they are doing that for roughing the passers. I believe that exact same rule that I just talked about. I think now there is. I can't remember specifically, but I know there's a way for them to get that call in faster and more accurate because there is a guy like watching, like, hey, that wasn't it. But with the new rule, I don't know if that same thing applies because I don't know if it's a challengeable penalty. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
That part I don't know because it's such a new penalty. They might just let it ride this first year and then, obviously make revisions to it.
Speaking of challenges, did you see that other one? That if they get one of their first two challenges right, they get a
Yeah.
third one.
Yeah. I
I
like that.
I also like that. I think that's smart. You get no reward for getting one right.
Yeah. No, and it should have. I don't know why it took so long for them to even do that because it's kind of like I got my first challenge right. Why are you still penalizing me for taking it away?
Right, right. It makes no sense. So, and
Yeah.
I like the fact that it's not if you get your first one right, you get a third one. If you get one of the two, you get an extra one.
Yeah, definitely. So I think overall they did make some good changes. I'm excited to see how they play out this year. I'm definitely the most excited for the kickoff, just because, like we both said, man, there were some amazing players in history. Even for me, my earliest memory of a kick returner is Dante Hall. Even
Oh my
before Devin
god.
Hester, he was one of my favorite players to watch. And how many times did he change a game or have a walk off, punt, or kick return game winner? Like Devin Hester in the Super Bowl. Like what were you doing in that moment when he took that back?
Right, right. And not only that, it's like no one's ever done it since, and probably I mean, it took them almost 50 years before a kickoff was returned. So
Right.
the opening kickoff, I'll say, but I can remember screaming so loud I thought my chest was gonna explode because
Yeah.
I was like, dude, we're gonna win a Super Bowl. Like that.
Yeah.
That's literally what I thought. And then Rex
Right.
Grossman stepped on the field.
Yeah, and they had Peyton. Um, but yeah, man, I'm glad to see that come back in the game, and I feel like we could potentially have a guy who's going to be really prevalent in that role in Velas, because I mean, even last year, Velas almost took a couple to the house, so it'll be interesting to watch for sure.
Yeah, should be a good season.
Um, Last one. What do you think about the NFL dominating, showing its hand, and they're playing games on Christmas this year, which is a Wednesday? Like it or no?
Uh, you know, So I don't know if you listen to the New Heights podcast at all with the Kelsey brothers.
I haven't yet. No.
So at one point they were talking about something, maybe like moving a game to Saturday nights or something like that. And Kelsey said, "Football's meant to be played on Sundays, but the problem for me is they play Sunday, Monday, Thursday. Now they're going to play on Wednesday on Christmas. Sometimes
Hmm.
they play on Saturdays.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have a game on Friday, like
Friday. Yeah.
the Black Friday games. So
The
it's
first game
like,
of the first. Not to cut you off, but the first Friday of the season, the
yeah,
Eagles play in Brazil Friday.
yeah. So I think, unfortunately, with them going overseas and stuff, it's really gonna move a lot. The games are gonna be played on days that we're not used to. I'm not a fan of just being played every day because, in all honesty, I'm in like 5 fantasy leagues. I love football. I love the Bears. I watch football. Like I don't watch no movies, no TV, don't play games. I'm literally consumed by football during football season. So
One
like
hundred percent.
it's nice to have Tuesday, Wednesday where there's no football on because I can actually do other things.
Yeah. And honestly, for the players, man, I know they're going to have to figure out a way to, for example, you shouldn't play that previous Sunday and then have to play on Wednesday. Your
Absolutely.
body just can't recover from that. But unfortunately, Christmas is so deep into the season. I don't even know if the teams, you know what I'm saying, will still have their bye weeks by that time. And if they don't have their bye weeks yet, how beat up is that team by that point, you know? So I, like I'm just like you, man. Sundays, I'm on that couch watching games all day. You know, Monday night, you get through the workday. I can't wait to come home and watch Monday night. The Thursday night games are kind of ass, but still it is what it is. But
Right.
me personally, I liked watching the NBA on Christmas Day. Like that's
Yeah.
just kind of how it's always been, you know. But
No,
they
same.
they got to get that money.
But you know what? And I was going to say maybe they'll eventually transition into like an NBA model where, this guy's got a tweaked ankle. He's just not going to play. We're just going to sit him out. But the problem is the NBA has 82 games and there's only
Right.
17. Keenan Allen doesn't play a game because he's got a tweaked ankle and you lose. That could cost you getting into the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. It could.
So
Uh,
it's almost like you said, the team's beat up, like they're kind of screwed. They just got to play.
yeah. So it'll be interesting to see this year. Bears got the Hall of Fame game too this year, which is big. I think they're super big for that. I didn't really want to touch on the stadium talk too much because I'm gonna be honest with you. Not that it bores me, but until there's like a for sure plan, this is what's happening. This is when it's getting built. I'm kind of just tuned out to that.
I agree. It's all hearsay. I mean, at least with the draft talk, like we know it's coming in a month. So it's
Yeah.
worth talking about. This could take 5 years to solidify anything concrete. So
Right. Right.
what's the point? What's the point of talking about it?
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you, man. So, with that being said, I think we'll leave it right there. It's a good spot. Next time we hop on, we'll definitely take a deeper dive into that number 9 pick. Just because people are finally starting to realize that we do have two top 10 picks. Now that Justin's gone, it's like a for sure thing. Caleb's won. So what are we doing at 9? And we'll jump into some different scenarios then. But anything else you'd like to add before we get out of here?
No, man. Let's hunker down, do some more mock drafts, and figure out what we're gonna do for the draft.
Yeah, honestly, I know there's a lot of watch parties going around. I don't know. Maybe we should do something for that too because it is big, man. This is probably the biggest draft in Bears history. Honestly, it's
Yeah.
it's really a franchise changing draft. So looking forward to it. Still got a couple weeks, so make sure you guys get up with us next week when we talk about the number 9 pick. If you don't mind, please drop us a like, subscribe, follow us on all the socials, as we will continue to pump out content all throughout the summer and especially when the season rolls around. So, with that being said, Mike Reese, Angelo Pasquinelli, we will talk to you guys next time.